college library, and I hope I don't get kicked out for filming in here because this is really the only place that I want to film this video. I want to create a fitness transformation, fitness journey video because I've never done like a real transformation video, and trust me, like so much has happened in my life leading up to this. So I'm gonna try to get through it and just hit the sweet spots, you know, get the best parts of it that I can. I have a little thing of notes. Let's begin growing up. When I was growing up, I was really big into sports, and I feel like this is something that not a lot of people know about me. I did about 19 sports, but a few of them were just hobbies, like cycling and biking and rock climbing. I loved doing that, but all of these things were in phases, and that's what I like so much about how I found to love what I do, is that I tried everything. And I think that is something that is so important. If you take something away from this, just know, like, if you don't know what you love to do, you need to try stuff because you're never gonna know if you like it unless you try it. I loved ice skating, so I tried figure skating. I loved it. I did lacrosse for like one season. I did swim team. Jeez, I hated that. It was so hard. Swimming is so hard, and I'm a lifeguard, and we have to do like swimming drills. I have so much respect for swimmers because that is hard. And I've done lots of tiring things though, like much harder. So I really built the discipline through my sports, I think, and that competitive nature in me. I was never a slacker. I always wanted to do good. I always had really high expectations for myself. And I think that kind of built up too, is because when I played a sport at first and I realized I wasn't the best at it and I wanted to be, you know, the best at it, I worked really hard. So I would practice on my own and become one of the top players. Soccer, I was on a really competitive soccer team for a few years, and my coach and I had a great relationship. He actually happens to be my manager for lifeguarding, which is crazy. We both work at the pool now, but he was my soccer coach. He still coaches soccer. He's an amazing coach, and I loved defense, so he always let me play defense. I remember that so well. My parents loved going to my soccer games. I also did dance for a few years. I did tap, jazz, and ballet, and I did 2 competitions, I'm pretty sure. It was super fun. There were costume competitions. I got to dress up as a witch and do like a dance with my little group. I also did badminton for like a year or 2, and gymnastics for a couple years when I was younger. I would say between ages 6 and 9, maybe even younger than that. I did downhill skiing. That was just a hobby though. I did rock climbing for a little bit just for fun. I biked a lot, and I loved rollerblading. So I would always rollerblade around the neighborhoods and scooter. Oh, I loved basketball. My dad actually was my coach one year for basketball for my team, and I think I did basketball for 3 or 4 years. My dad loved that I did basketball because he grew up loving it, and then I was just his little basketball player, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I think I get a lot of my hand-eye coordination definitely comes from those sports. All of high school, I did 3 varsity sports a year. I did varsity tennis, cross-country ski team, Nordic skiing, which was so extremely competitive, and we had races so often.
I say wonder, you say bread, wonder, bread, wonder, bread.
Ski races or running, nothing beats the pain of those. Like, nothing beats that. Track, varsity skiing, and varsity tennis. Played that all of high school and like 7th and 8th grade too. So huge background in sports. I've already been talking about that for 6 minutes. I really have to cut that down. Start to getting into lifting. 7th grade, I joined track, and I had done track when I was younger. Started out for the high school team. The first day of track, I remember this so vividly. The coach had us do a timed mile, and I was so nervous for that thing. Like, I always get nervous, but I was like, I wanted to do really well. And I got 2nd place in the race. There was one guy ahead of me, and then I was 2nd, and I was super happy about it. But I had not been training or conditioning at all whatsoever. I just happened to be really good at running naturally. I think it's my body type and genetics, because like I said, I hadn't trained for it, but that also harmed me because I got injured. 2nd day of track, I tried running again. I made the team, of course, and my knee hurt during the run, and my friend was like, oh, you know, that happens. It's probably just some muscle soreness or something. I'm like, you're right. You know, it is the older girl on my team. I trust her. The 3rd day of track, I could not run. I had to stop running because of how bad my knee pain was. It was so bad. The coach was like, yeah, don't run anymore. That was the end of track season for me. I couldn't run anymore after that, unfortunately. I was frustrated because everyone around me was doing track and I couldn't. I went to physical therapy.
And so with this, you said just to be careful that she's not reaching and hyperextending over the toes.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I started doing these little at-home exercises like banded work and single leg work, a little bit of core. I really started getting into my recovery process of healing my knee so I could run again. 8th grade comes around. This was probably one of the best years of my life. 8th grade was a blast. I think I was more, I wouldn't say devious. I did all the things that like teenagers wanted to do in 8th grade. Like I had a solid friend group, so many sleepovers, so many nights out. Life was amazing. 8th grade was awesome. Also top of the middle school, like then you hit 9th grade, it's different, but I was thriving then. 8th grade, I still could not run. So 1 year later, still my knee hurt, probably almost every single day, just walking. And if I would walk a little bit too long or uphill or not wear the right shoes, my knee would hurt. It was crazy and it was so frustrating. And I remember coming home one day and like sitting on the couch and literally started crying because I was like, why me?
It's so hard. It's like you want to do the things that you're not able to do.
Why me? I remember thinking that, like, why is this happening to me? I'm so dedicated and I know I would do so good in the sport running. And why is it one of the really good runners that gets injured and not the slacker? That was my mindset. So of course I was sad that I couldn't run. Kept going to physical therapy and I started going to the gym almost every single day. While my sister was at track practice and all my friends were at track practice, I was walking to the gym after school every single day. It was about a 7-minute walk just down a huge hill from my school. I would go to the gym and I would do some of the physical therapy stuff. I would also try to mix in some cardio because I knew I wanted to keep my aerobic fitness up. So I would do so much elliptical because it didn't hurt my knee and it was the closest to running that I could get. So I would do elliptical a lot, biking. Sometimes I was on the bike for an hour, sometimes on the elliptical for an hour. I definitely did not train right, but I was figuring myself out. I was figuring stuff out, and that's how it works, is because you try stuff and you figure out what works for you. This is when I really started getting into self-improvement. I would go on walks, listening to podcasts, listening to like Tony Robbins and Gary Vee, some people that I don't even listen to very much at all anymore, but they started me and they talked about motivation, they talked about success, and I wanted it really bad. And that's also when I started watching Nastasia Ponomarenko. She took almost all her videos down on YouTube, unfortunately, but she was my biggest inspiration for fitness. Now she's much more business sided, but I started seeing results. I remember specifically that I did the 100 squats a day challenge for 30 days. And my butt grew an inch. It actually did grow an inch, which is crazy. Most people are like, oh, that stuff doesn't work. I was like, wow, this lifting stuff actually works. I started adding weights. I started creating my own programs, and I would watch videos and I would look at articles and I put my programs together and I would write my own workouts. It was still the start, but it was something. And the whole motivation basically was to get back to running. But in the process of trying to get healed for running, I fell in love with lifting. I really did. I fell in love with the gym. 9th grade comes around, probably the worst year of my life, as probably is for many high schoolers. Very, very much over exercising. I would work out like 7 days a week. I wouldn't even take rest days. And I was also under eating. My sister's probably fine with me talking about this, but she started to get an eating disorder. And being her twin, twins go off of each other a lot. So I started to fall into my twin sister's habits, and she was mentioning calories and eating less. And so I started to do the same just naturally without even really thinking about it. And then I kind of started to get sucked into that negative mindset. I never got an ED, but I did lose a lot of weight and I was not eating enough. And I was doing way too much cardio with lifting and I did not get results. That's that. That whole year, scrap. What I did get from that year is discipline, more discipline, because I did not stop lifting. I did not stop working. I did not stop training. I was also doing the varsity sports. I tried out for cross country instead of tennis because I was like, I've been working in the gym for a little bit. I feel like I'm good enough to run again, right? You would think. It went so well to start with, and then the knee pain came back. And I don't know, I can't even describe the frustration I had because of the knee pain.
I just got back from the first day of cross country.
3 years later, still knee pain, even though I hadn't been running. It was beyond me. At that point, I was like, this is it. I need to give this up now because my body doesn't like it. It's not working for me and I need to stop. So I quit cross country and I joined tennis. I remember that same season even, I asked to join the tennis team late and they let me join. But I love tennis anyways. Like tennis was probably one of my favorite sports all of high school. It was also super chill, completely different group of people and girls than like the skiers. The skiers and the cross country runners, they were like full athletes. Like the tennis team was chill. These girls were more just like chill people. In 10th grade that year, I was like, all right, I'm all in for lifting. Wouldn't say I was getting huge progress though. I definitely wasn't eating enough. I kind of went off of like all my friends around me and how other girls around me were eating. And I thought that was gonna work for me, so that's what I did. And it ended up being way less than I needed, just because I have a very fast metabolism and a massive appetite. So you guys probably know that from my videos. 10th grade, I honestly don't even remember that well. I did hit a mile PR though. After stopping running for so long, I tested my mile PR and did this with Maddie's cross country team. So my twin sister was still running cross country at the time. I joined my sister and her team and I ran the mile time trial with them and I got 5:59 mile, which is insanely good for a non-runner who has not been training. And that again just goes down to the genetics. Many cross-country runners who train still cannot hit a 5:59 mile, female runners. So I did that and I was proud of myself because I was like, sub 6 minutes, let's go. Sometimes I got so excited writing my own workouts that I would just like, for hours, I would spend time just listening to videos and trying to create the best glute building program, the best strength building program for a beginner possible for me. And I would like sit in art class at the end of every day and I would write my workout that I was gonna do that day. Basically all I remember from 10th grade. Honestly, a lot of high school just blurred together. 11th grade was a good year though. 11th grade is when I started powerlifting. So I met my powerlifting coach. 11th grade was such a good year. This is when I discovered my gym, Los Campeones. And I remember I was sitting at my desk one night and I was like, oh, I really want to go to a bodybuilding gym. I'm done with like my family gym. I need something more advanced. I need something higher. I want to be surrounded by people like me. So I searched up bodybuilding gyms near me and I found Los Campeones. I went to that gym for the first time and I fell in love with it. I went to the original location, which very run down, dirty type vibe. I guess that's how I explain it. I don't know, I was into that. Like honestly, like I had a really clean family gym that was like a palace and then going to this like dungeon of a gym. I was into it. I like loved it. I started lifting there. My parents didn't want me to. My parents didn't even want me to power lift. They were worried about being surrounded by like a bunch of testosterone and big men and stuff like that. But that didn't stop me, obviously. I kept going. I was paying for my personal training sessions with my savings because I wanted to do it so bad. I told my parents I would pay for the gym membership. Somehow I was working, so I was making a $10 per hour income. It was going towards my coaching. It was going towards powerlifting. And I set my PR that year for deadlifts. I got 220. Failed at 225, but I don't even lift 220 now. I do not know how I lifted 220 at 16. I was bulking. I got to my heaviest weight, eating so much, and it was quarantine. Still working on my mindset, still going for walks, listening to podcasts. I was so into that, you guys. Like, I do not consider myself just a fitness influencer because of how much I love mindset and how much I'm interested in self-improvement. That's like a whole side of me that is equal with my fitness. Fitness and bodybuilding, self-improvement, mindset, and personal growth. Equal, if not personal growth even higher. 11th grade, powerlifting year.
Went to take the PSAT, came home, ate really quick, and now I'm at the gym. And I have like an hour to work out because I have an ACT prep class every Tuesday night, and I need to do that later. And then I'm supposed to have a movie night with my friends tonight.
And I was like, oh, powerlifting? I feel like I'm just not into this as much. I really want to try bodybuilding. So 12th grade, senior year of high school comes around. Oof, this is probably one of the hardest years of my life because of the IB program. Super rigorous program. I don't know if you guys have heard of AP, like the AP program in high school. IB is even harder in my opinion. Super heavy coursework, very, very difficult classes. I was waking up at 5 a.m. for like 6 months straight, going to my bodybuilding gym and training, college applications, applying to West Point and all the military academies, trying to get into those. That's when I was super like into those. Now I completely flipped a switch and said, no, I don't want to go to the Army or Air Force. But I was really, that was my big goal. It was just waking up at 5 a.m., working out, going to school, going straight to ACT prep, and then going home, eating, studying more, and sleeping, and then repeating over and over and over. And it was terrible. I'm so happy that's over. Bodybuilding was getting me through it because of how much I enjoy bodybuilding. I like being busy, and I am always busy. So another thing I want to point out, when people are always like, how do you make the time for it? I don't have the time for it. I went through a period in my life of senior year when I was planning down to the minute of how I was going to get stuff done every day. But I wake up at 5 a.m. and drive to the gym, so tired. Like I remember those days when I was so tired. Every single day I would be studying and my eyes would start fluttering and I would have to close my eyes and I would have to lay down because of how tired I was. Was that the smartest thing to do? No, but I was still going to the gym. I was still making time for it and I was still getting shit done, you know? Like I was studying for the ACT every day and I was in that terrible IB program. I'm not gonna wish that on anybody. After going through all of that and still hearing people say I don't have time, I'm like, I would really like to hear your argument for that. Humans make time for what we want to do. And maybe the gym isn't something you wanna do, but maybe it's something you know that you need to do. People are like, how do you stay consistent? How do you know exactly what you're gonna do to get there? Do you really think that me, starting in my powerlifting gym at 16, knew exactly what I was doing? No, but I knew that I was gonna get there. I knew I was gonna put in the work for it and I wanted it so bad. I self-educated so much. You're going to learn. You will learn. Find someone that you look up to, find someone who inspires you, and find someone who is living, you know, a life that you want, a life that you admire, and follow them. See what they do, watch what they do. Why do you have anything to worry about if you know for a fact that you're gonna keep working for it as long as it takes? Like if you know that in yourself, you do not need anybody else's validation or approval. If you like yourself as a person and you trust yourself and you trust that you're gonna work for it, why does it matter? Why does it matter what everybody else is doing? Why does it matter how much faster these people are growing? If you can detach from the path of those people, see what they're doing in a way where you admire it instead of envying it, that's where it truly, truly is going to start working out for you. I think it's so weird that we compare ourselves to people who aren't even us, and when I catch myself doing that, I remind myself, this is my journey. I started bodybuilding and I trained super hard. I learned how to train right, and this is the year when I saw the biggest changes overall is senior year, which is this past year. And I actually went on prep and competed in my first bodybuilding show a few months ago. Last month, I mean, because I'm in college now. So I'm a freshman now. I am on my off season, so I just had my first 2 shows and now I'm training to build. I will probably do another show in the future to hopefully get my pro card, but I'm not thinking of competing every year, every other year type of thing. Like, it was great, but it is so hard on the body. I don't think it's something that should be done constantly. Females especially, because of our hormones. Crazy that this whole time from when I started in the gym, really wanting to get better for running, and me now still lifting, I didn't stop. I never stopped, and that is the one thing that I need to point out, is that I stayed consistent and I stayed disciplined. You have to want it and you have to work for it. Write down a goal, make a plan, and do not let anything stop you from getting it. I did not think it would take as long as it did for me to see results, but it did. But I don't regret how much I worked for it. I don't regret anything because I knew that one day I would see changes and I would get there, and I did. You have to have faith in yourself and you have to believe in yourself, because at the end of the day, you're not gonna have anybody else to just sit with your own thoughts but you. No matter how many friends support you and cheer you on, at the end of the day, it's you. I used to write this down. I would tell myself, like, imagine that the role model is watching you at all times. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys all. This is my most personal platform. Like, you go on my Instagram, you go on my TikTok, you'll see my body and you'll see my workouts and you'll see me talk a little bit, but this platform is where you can really connect with me, and so that's why I really appreciate you guys for being here. Comment anything that you want to see. I read all of your comments, and I do read all of my DMs too, so just keep that in mind. Like, you're not gonna go unnoticed. I do make that a priority. Yeah. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one.